Hello my beautiful friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Liv if you're new here, and in this video we're going to be chatting all things 2024 new release books. Sitting here curating this list of my top 20 books that I think are going to be 5 stars next year for me, I was just in awe and utter shock that we are at the end of another year once again. I cannot believe it's already December and Christmas is right around the corner. But you guys, there are so many amazing books to look forward to next year. Most of these books I'm going to be talking about are actually from authors that I have read before and I know have been 5 stars for me in the past. I feel like next year is going to be an amazing reading year because I feel like I have finally established what I love in books, my favorite genres, what I don't like in books, and I found some new amazing all-time favorite authors for me personally, and a lot of these authors are coming out with new books in the new year. I'm not going to be sharing in depth exactly what these books are about, so I will have all the titles and the dates they are releasing in the description below of this video so you can check that out for yourself, but I don't think I'm going to be doing like quarterly release videos in the new year. I'm definitely going to be doing a little something different next year. So this is just to give you a broad general idea of some books you have to look forward to next year. So without further ado, let's go ahead and chat the top 20 books that I cannot wait to get my hands on. The first book that is actually by an author that I have not read from before, but don't worry, we'll get to the authors that I have read from before, is Allison Saft's A Fragile Enchantment. This one gave off cottagecore vibes to me when I was reading through what this book was about, and even the cover definitely looks like cottagecore. This is a young adult romantasy book about a girl who is able to weave emotions and feelings into the dresses she makes. She then decides to help sew costumes or clothing for a royal wedding. She meets the groom and he is like this grumpy guy who I think they might end up having feelings for each other in the end, but I love a good grumpy sunshine. This is more of like an unlikely friendship kind of situation, and so I'm very interested to see how this plays out considering this guy is just about to get married. But in the description it talks about magical gardens and elegant balls, and this is just a book that I really need in my life. The vibes are already speaking my language and I just cannot contain my excitement for this one. Next we have a fast-paced thriller by none other than Alex Michaelides. I can never remember how you pronounce his last name, but it is The Fury that takes place in I believe Greece. A masterfully paced thriller about a reclusive ex-movie star and her famous friends who spontaneously trip to a private Greek island is appended in murder. I love The Silent Patient by this author. That book kind of has a special place in my heart because that is the first ever mystery thriller that I think I ever read. That was my first book of the month I ever got, and that's kind of what started my whole love for mystery thrillers in general. I love this author, I love the pace of his books, I love the writing, I love the stories, and I love Greece. So obviously I'm gonna end up picking this one up. Next we have House of Flame and Shadow by Sarah J. Maas, which is Crescent City 3. I believe this is the last one in the trilogy. I don't think I've ever anticipated a book more. I have not stopped thinking about this story and the characters since March when I finished Sky and Breath. Like, I cannot believe I've waited this long to finally get my hands on that book and figure out what happens to these characters. Sarah J. Maas has my heart. You can call me basic. I don't even care. I get so invested in her characters. Crescent City is probably my favorite. I feel like it's kind of equal to ACOTAR for me actually, so I'm definitely overexcited about this one. Probably more so than a lot of people. I know a lot of people like ACOTAR, but for some reason Crescent City just does it for me, and I cannot wait, but I'm also really terrified about what's going to happen in this book. Next we have The Hands of Ghosts by Katherine Arden, and truth be told I've only read The Bear and the Nightingale, but I absolutely fell in love with the atmosphere of that book. It was so good. I don't know why I didn't continue on with the series, but this book looks so unique and so interesting, and for historical fiction to be able to pull me in and really pique my interest I feel like is a big deal, especially for a fantasy reader. But this one I think is going to be for the fantasy readers because you have some type of magical hotel that helps people travel in time. There is the Great War going on and our main character is actually looking for her missing brother, but she's heard rumors owners of this hotel, and she sets out on her way to go find it. She thinks that possibly maybe her brother has heard of it too. That's basically all I know about this book. I would definitely recommend go reading the synopsis to this one because it's really in-depth. It sounds like it's going to be very action-packed. I definitely feel like after reading Divine Rivals and that making my top favorite books of the year, I definitely am branching a little bit more into like this historical fantasy genre. And I will definitely take any more recommendations you have because I feel like this could be a new potential like favorite subgenre of fantasy that I really love. So I'm hoping this one will be a good 5 stars this year. Next is a book that has been on my radar for quite some time. I think this is the first book that I put on my list for my 2024 releases, and this is by an author that I have not read from before. They also wrote We Hunt the Flame, I believe. But when I read this first line to describe it, I knew right away I had to have this in my life. It says, the first book in a hotly anticipated new fantasy duology about an orphan girl and her crew who get tangled in a heist with vampires. Perfect for fans of Leigh Bardugo's Six of Crows. You guys know how much I'm a fan of Six of Crows and Leigh Bardugo in general. That is all I needed to hear, especially this cover. Are you kidding me? I need this cover in my life. The blues to the pinks, just, this cover is absolutely beautiful. I love how we're getting more people on the cover of books, but they're just in this gorgeous illustration style, and people are just really outdoing themselves with covers. I feel like next year's gonna be an amazing year for book covers. Our main character is a criminal mastermind and collector of secrets. Her prestigious tea room transforms into an illegal bloodhouse by dark, catering to the vampires feared by society. So I guess that's where the tea comes in. And honestly, after reading through the synopsis again, I thought this was going to be more of like a cozy fantasy, and it is definitely not that. So I'm very interested to see how all the vampires and the darkness is going to come into play with this book. The next book that I know I'm going to give an easy 5 stars to, no question about it, no doubt about it, is Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez. I already have this one on pre-order from Barnes & Noble because I cannot wait for this. Justin has a curse, and thanks to a Reddit thread, it's now all over the internet. Every woman he dates goes on to find their soulmate the second they break up. When a woman slides into his DMs with the same problem, they come up with a plan. They'll date each other and break up. Their curses will cancel each other's out, and they'll both go on to find the love of their lives. It's a bonkers idea, and it just might work. I don't know what formula Abby has wrapped up in the story and how she's gonna break my heart. I trust her with my reading life. That's all I need to know. Also, this cover was absolutely worthy for me to hit the pre-order button. Next, we have The Rule Book by Sarah Adams. I love Sarah Adams. I've read 2 of her books now, and they've both been 5 stars for me. This one is actually a companion to The Cheat Sheet, which is like her first book that kind of went viral, but I actually have not read that one yet, so I'm definitely going to be reading The Cheat Sheet before I pick this one up. This one is a sports romance, which to me, I don't care if a romance has sports in it. I really enjoyed My Phony Valentine by Courtney Walsh, and so I was like, okay, I can read romance with sports in it. It doesn't bother me. And I know in this one, the main guy is actually a football player, and I'm not sure what the girl does for her career or what she's like as a person. I honestly don't know if this is fake dating. I don't know if this is like friends to lovers. I don't think it's enemies to lovers. But once again, this is just another one of those cases that I really love the author. I'm very picky with my romance reads. Sarah Adams has easily proved to be worthy of being on my romance author list, so I will no doubt be picking this one up the day it comes out. Now, this next book, I am going to go ahead and read some of the synopsis off to you because I cannot do justice with how cozy this book sounds and how cozy I know this book is going to be. I mean, just look how stunning this cover is of A Witch's Guide to Magical Inkeeping. Like, there's a fox, it's pink and purple. This is just absolutely stunning. Sarah Swan was once one of the most powerful witches in Britain. Then she resurrected her great Aunt Jasmine from the dead, lost most of her magic, befriended a semi-villainous talking fox, and was exiled from her magical guild. Now she helps Aunt Jasmine run an inn in Lancashire where she deals with her quirky guest shenanigans, tries to keep the talking fox in check, and longs for the magical future she lost. I mean, how can you not read that and not want to pick this book up? You have a talking fox. Foxes are like my favorite animals. They are so cute. I haven't even read The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches, but I'm definitely hoping to now before this one one comes out. Once again, there's a pattern or trend here of a new historical fantasy called The Familiar coming out by Leigh Bardugo. I'm so excited but also so terrified to read this book because when she came out with Ninth House, I was like, this is the book. This is going to be my newest obsession. I'm going to love it, give it 6 out of 5 stars. And it ended up being a 2-star for me and I didn't continue with the series. So I'm definitely going into this one very hesitantly, but with high hopes, but not too high. I don't even know what to expect from this book. I have not read the synopsis actually at all, and I think I'm going to keep it that way because I think I loved the sound of Ninth House so much and that's what brought up my expectations. But if I go into this one blind, maybe that'll work in my favor. I don't know, maybe my thinking is weird, but I do know that this one is set in Spain and it does sound dark. So other than that, that's all I know. I have no idea what the title is even about, but here we are. Next we have Funny Story by Emily Henry, which doesn't sound funny at all. It actually sounds very complicated because we have our main character who starts falling in love with her ex-fiance's new fiance's ex. I don't even know how that works or what in the world I just said, but it sounds very complicated, but it does sound like a fake dating trope is going to be what the story is about, and I'm here for it. If it's called Funny Story, and I know Emily Henry is like one of the most humorous romance writers, I'm obviously gonna read it. I feel like this title is so her, and this cover, again, absolutely stunning. I love like this royal blue kind of purple indigo color. I just love it, adore it. I need it right now. Next we have Darling Girls by Sally Hepworth, and I really hope she comes back to my local indie bookstore again because this past year I got the chance to meet her and she is one of the sweetest people on the face of the planet. I will literally read anything she writes just because of the amazing person that she is. But this one I know is definitely going to hit me a little bit harder than most books because it has to do with 3 foster children. They're all girls. They've been in the same foster home before. They are now grown up, and there's some type of mystery that is surrounded by this foster home because there are bones that are found in the yard of this house. So all of them come together and are somehow bonded even further by this mystery. So I'm very excited to see where Sally takes my emotions. I know I'm gonna end up going on a roller coaster ride with her, but I'm just so excited that she's finally coming out with another book, and I feel like this could be the potential to be my new favorite of hers. The next book I am crossing my fingers that I love because this author has usually been a big hit or miss for me. That is Ruth Ware's One Perfect Couple. Apparently this is another book that has an ode to And Then There Were None. There are 5 couples that are stranded on the storm-swept island and they are slowly getting killed off. Alice Feeney also kind of did this with her book Daisy Darker, but I loved the twist or the spin that she put on it. It was a little bit more emotional of a book, and I don't know where Ruth Ware is going to take this one. Her past 2 books have not piqued my interest in the least, but this one definitely has me because she's talking about Agatha Christie's. We will see what kind of direction she takes this, but hopefully it's a good one for me. Next we have In the Middle of the Night by Riley Sager. I'm sure this is an ode to Taylor Swift because he is a Swiftie like most of us are. This title just makes me laugh, but honestly the story does not because it sounds pretty dark. It's about 2 childhood best friends who decide to camp out in a tent at the end of the cul-de-sac in their neighborhood when they are young children, and one of them wakes up the next day to the tent sliced open and his best friend has disappeared. And the reason this scares me is because I live at the end of a cul-de-sac and I feel like it's just gonna be a very vivid book for me to read through. He ends up going back to this childhood home and trying to figure out what happened to his friend, so I'm sure things could take a weird turn. Considering Riley Sager has done all different types of things with his thrillers, I'm very much anticipating this one, and also the lime green. Love it. Super fun. Next we have Ashley Poston's A Novel Love Story. I'm so excited she's coming out with another book so quickly. She is one of the top people that really got me into romance. This book sounds like it could have the potential to take the place of The Dead Romantics, because in this book our main character falls into the story that she has written herself. Actually, I don't think she wrote the story herself, but it's one of her all-time favorite book series that she ends up stumbling into. She walks into this bookstore and somehow ends up in this magical book series that she loves so much. And the bookseller, or the guy that owns the bookshop, he's kind of like this grumpy guy, but obviously there might be some feelings happening, hopefully. So yes, I'm very excited about this one, and I also think this is my favorite cover of hers. Next, we have another summer contemporary book that I know is just gonna blow up once again, by Courtney Walsh. We have The Summer of Yes. I couldn't be more excited about this because she really dove into more of like the chick lit contemporary genre when she wrote Isadora Bentley, and I really loved that one. I thought there was a lot of good like lessons in it. It made you think, and this one's not going to be any different because our main character has a near-death experience. So she ends up going through obviously lots of feelings and thought processes of regrets and the way she's lived her life, and I know this is going to be another really big eye-opening book for me. Next, we have another book by an author that absolutely blew me away this year for being a debut and a less than 300-page book at that. I could not believe I was in sobbing tears. I was a mess after finishing The Wishing Game earlier this year, and Meg Schaffer is coming out with The Lost Story. Not only the title, but the cover is just an instant buy for me. Like, I am obsessed with this author. She is just so magical in her writing and so heartfelt, but this one is inspired by the Chronicles of Narnia. I don't need to know anything else. I know there's a couple boys that disappear or go to another world or something in this book, but other than that, I don't care. I was screaming when I saw her post this cover. I cannot believe we're getting another book by her so quickly, and I'm so glad that she was so successful with her debut because it is so well deserved. If you have not picked up The Wishing Game, please pick it up as soon as possible. Next, we have Lady Macbeth by Ava Reid, and this is literally all it says in the synopsis. Fair is foul and foul is fair. I do know the basic story of Lady Macbeth, so I do know this is a retelling of some sorts. I also believe this is adult, but the big reason why I want to pick up this book is A Study in Drowning made my top favorites of the year, and it was just so unique yet so magical and thought-provoking. And if this book is going to be anything like that one, sign me the heck up. I've already bought a couple more of Ava Reid's books because I cannot wait to get to them. So needless to say, I definitely found another auto-buy author this year. The next book that I am so excited about, we are getting another book by Emily Lloyd-Jones. I do not talk enough about The Bone Houses, but that book was a solid 5 stars for me. It's so underrated. She also wrote The Drowned Woods, and apparently this new book is supposed to take place in the same world as her other books. All it says is this is a YA fantasy set in the same world about a monster hunting girl who teams up with a prince to win the dangerous tournament known as the Wild Hunt. We have a tournament, it's a young adult fantasy. If it's set in the same world, has the same atmosphere, I am totally on board. I cannot wait for this. It's gonna be so good. But in the meantime, I need to actually get to In the Drowned Woods. And last but not least, number 20 that I am so excited is coming out. We are getting another Erin A. Craig book called The 13th Child. Hazel has always known she wasn't like the rest of her many siblings. Born a 13th child and promised away to one of the gods, she spends her childhood waiting for her godfather, Merrick the Dreaded End, to finally arrive. When he does, he tells Hazel her future. She will become a great healer, known throughout the kingdom for her precision and skill. To aid in her endeavors, Merrick blesses the young girl a gift, but all gifts come with a price. I don't know if this is some type of dark retelling, but it kind of reminds me of a fairy tale. I have not read House of Roots and Ruin yet, but I do know that one was more borderline horror from what people were saying, so I have no doubt she could possibly take this in that direction. Just kidding, I lied. I actually skipped over a book earlier called The City of Stardust by Georgia Summers. Can we just look at this cover? I think my jaw dropped when I saw this. I was like, I've never heard of this author before, don't even care what the book is about, but this is just such a stunning book. The Everly family is cursed. Every generation is destined to lose their best and brightest, taken by a woman named Penelope who never ages, never sickens, and never forgives a debt. When her mother vanishes in the middle of the night, the curse falls on Violet Everly, unless she can break it first. To do so, she must descend into a seductive magical underworld of power-hungry scholars, fickle gods, and monsters bent on revenge. And at the edges of the world, she'll find the City of Stardust where the Everly story began. I love a good family dynamic where we have like a dark curse and it's passed on from generation to generation, and there's one of those people or family members that wants wants to break the curse, they go on an epic adventure, and I feel like this one is going to be just that. Alright my friends, those are my top 20 books that I cannot wait to get my hands on in 2024. There are definitely so many other books coming out that I'm very eager to get to, but these take top priority for me. These I'm definitely going to be at the store the day these come out, so if you are excited for any of these like I am, definitely let me know in the comments. If I missed any other big books, definitely let me know, but I'm being a little bit pickier going into the new year about what I buy, but these I will definitely be purchasing. I cannot wait for a new year of new reads and new amazing books, but until then, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I appreciate you so much. I love you, and I will see you in my next video.